Hello, everybody, and welcome to Neverwinter. Neverwinter's fine. This footage will likely never get used anywhere. Just kind of testing out and making sure about the Hop works for extended periods of time. Neverwinter is a free-to-play MMO published by Perfect World, developed by Cryptic. It's been out on PC for a good bit, and Xbox One for a year. It just came to PS4, and since I am an MMO junkie, and if there is a free MMO put in front of me on my platform of choice, you bet your damn ass I am going to do it. You know, like, just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I am going to try and play it. This is no exception. I'm actually enjoying Neverwinter a good bit. Aside from the performance in the town here, which sucks, like there's no other way to word it. MMOs are like notorious for like their main towns being a fucking disaster when it comes to like performance. You know, it usually has the largest amount of players in a concentrated area, and depending on your rig, or in this case your console, it's very dependent on CPU power to render all of these people, or it could just be the game just optimized like a piece of shit. But there's really no getting around the fact that the performance here in a Protector's Enclave, which is like one of the main hub cities, bites a fat ass. Other than that, though, once you're out of here and you're out in the world and you're in dungeons and stuff, the performance is super rock solid. And you know, it's just an inevitability that I'm used to in MMOs nowadays. Let's stop fucking around here. We're going to do our daily dungeon really quick. Well, that's not the daily dungeon. It's the only dungeon I have unlocked. But when you do it, the first 2 times you do it per day, you get a bonus in Astral Diamonds. And Astral Diamonds is the currency you can exchange for the cash shop currency. You know, as if you didn't already know, Neverwinter is free to play, as I stated earlier. And it is monetized in such a way that you can get the cash shop currency all while playing the game. It takes a while, you know. So when someone tells you that, like, oh man, this game has one of the most generous free-to-play models I've ever seen, you can get everything just by playing the game, that is 100% true, and I think that is a really cool perk of the game. But when they tell you that, don't get all wide-eyed and be like, oh wow, what a generous model, because it's gonna take you a bit. The grind is there. I mean, you know, it's yeah, you can get Astral Diamonds and trade them in for Zen, which is the name of the premium currency, but it's gonna take you a good fucking bit to do so, and that's okay. You know, they want to keep the value of their premium currency up. You know, because if you can just get it super easy for free, no one would ever have to drop some dollars on it. I'm okay with that. You know, the fact that there is a way to get it is whatever for me. You know, oh, I'm getting trophies. Kill 500 orcs. I am an orc's greatest nightmare. Right now I'm playing as cleric. I should probably be popping some heals up on these folks right about now, but sometimes I just can't really be asked to do it. The class mechanics in this game are super interesting. I don't pick up a lot of white stuff anymore. My bags get full so fast. I want to eventually get another bag from the cash shop. Class mechanics are super fun. You know, one of the reasons that I keep going back to this game, despite the fact that I think it's a super solid MMO, is that it does action combat really well. A lot of action MMOs come out and, like, it's got action combat. You know, it's a revolution on the MMO. This is great. It's not your boring stuff. But a lot of them come out and, like, they're really bad. Like, they're not bad, but like it's not any different than tab target. You know what I mean? It's like tab targeting, but you know, under the guise of action. Like, oh man, you can tab target without having to tab. You know, and this is sort of like that, but I think the combat feels really weighty. It feels like a legit like action RPG. It feels like if you were to like take Diablo and swing it down to a third-person camera, I think you'd get kind of the look and feel of this. I think a lot of the moves have that heaviness. I should probably heal this fucking guy. It's probably not the worst idea I've ever had. Maybe he should fucking stop running. Alright, whatever. Strictly Psycho. You are Strictly Psycho. You don't want me to heal you. Fine. It's also up to him, too, to heal himself. I mean, he's got potions. You know? whatever. Sometimes I don't think it strictly matches you with tank and healer in this game. I think it's kind of like, you know, if you get one, you get one. Because both of these people are not. They're both trickster rogues. Like, they didn't match me with a tank. I don't think there's any threat pooling stuff in this game. But anyway, the action combat in this game, it feels good. It feels weighty. You know, it's always one of those things you hear people say. It's got weight to it. And it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, you know, like it's one of those words where one of those descriptors where it's just like, okay, you're just saying shit. You know what I mean? Because people say shit to say it. You know, like, oh man, the combat feels like it has weight to it. But it is a legitimate. It is a legitimate plus. Like, it's not something people make up. So many people use that descriptor that it's got to have some merit to it. And it's got to mean something, and it does. You know, when you attack stuff, like, oh you fucking traps, you shitty bastard. When you attack stuff in action RPGs and in any game, you know, that has melee or third-person combat or first-person combat or whatever, you know, when you use a move, you know, you could. I really don't know how to describe it. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, you could probably call it out as a bullshit complaint if you say a game's combat is floaty or it's not weighty enough. But you could just tell. Like, I love Elder Scrolls Online, but its combat is floaty, like super floaty. It's an action RPG. It's an action MMO, but when you swing a big greatsword at somebody, it doesn't feel like you're swinging a big greatsword at somebody. It feels like you're like swinging a pool noodle at them. You know what I mean? It's not. And I love ESO. You know, I think it's a great MMO. I think it's an MMO. I think maybe gets overlooked since the early days of it. You know, getting pretty panned by people initially. I think the game matured into a really great MMO. My HDMI cut out for a second there. That's why I stopped. I'm looking at the screen like, that's not good. But as I was saying, I think it matured into a great MMO. It's really just its combat that is good. ESO's combat mechanics are good. It's just it feels floaty. Whereas this feels like it has a little oomph when you use like AoE moves or, you know, your big specials. You know, the controller vibrates a bit and it feels good. You feel the impact. You can see it visibly. That helps in adding weightiness. I'm going on a way too long a rant talking about that when I could be talking more about the game itself. Other than the action combat, what keeps me coming back to it, I think, is mostly its like default template. Like for an MMO, you know, it's very much an MMO. You know, it's got dungeons, it's got PvP, which sucks. It sucks not only because the PvP is kind of pay to win, is the main complaint I hear about it. It sucks because the PvP is just boring to me. I played it. Granted, it's only low PvP. It's not, you know, like high level stuff or anything like that. But man, it fucking snoozer. Like, nobody was dying, and I don't know. Maybe that was the pay to win. Maybe everyone had super crazy gear. Because one of the big complaints I hear about endgame PvP is that because you can trade Astral Diamonds for Zen, the cash-up currency, you can buy Zen with real money and then exchange that for Astral Diamonds, which allows you to buy stuff from the auction house and from other sources. That allows you to get like super OP enchantments and, you know, gear sets really fast, you know, and allows you to kind of buy your way into the winner's table quicker than someone would if they had just grinded out for that gear. You know, you can get that same gear by playing. It's just someone can get it a lot faster by paying a little extra money. Now in PvE, obviously that edge is really only there for the dungeon you're doing. You know, you're playing with people of your gear level and dungeons that you're able to do, so there's really no pay-to-win aspect in the PvE and the dungeons and the raids and whatnot, because, you know, you just play a little longer and you'll get there. There's no one losing at the other end of that. You're progressing slowly like you would in any other PvE MMO. Well, PvP is affected heavily by that, and, you know, they haven't really gone out of their way to fix it, from what I understand. It's been this way for years. You know, it's kind of a bummer to hear that. For people who like PvP anyway, I don't. I stray away from MMO PvP all the time because I think it's not fun. That's just my opinion. I don't play MMOs for the PvP aspect of it. I play it for doing dungeons and big raids and cool, fun boss mechanics and living in a world with other people. And granted, yeah, conflict with other players and other factions is part of that. I can care less, you know, like really about PvP. And you know, it ends up fucking with PvE balance too if the dev is incompetent. And more often than not, a lot of MMO developers kind of lose their shit pretty quickly. Like, balancing out PvP can affect some of the effectiveness of a certain class in PvE. So it'd be nice. So some devs take the initiative to balance them separately and have moves that only work in said modes. But yeah, no, it has pretty much the default WoW template that's been in MMO since WoW came out. You know, you level up, there's some dungeons, there's some instances, you accept some quests, you kill 18 things, and, you know, and you pick up artifacts from dead bodies, you hand in 20 of them, you accept more quests, you go on more things, and you enter another dungeon, and you ride a horse, and yeah, I mean, wait, what the fuck? But that like gameplay loop that MMOs like have hooks me, man. Like, there's a reason MMOs are like my most played genre. I have more time in MMOs than any other game genre ever. Like, you combine every other genre, throw them together, my hours combined in them, FPS, single player RPG, you know, whatever. MMOs top them, man. I've played MMOs pretty much my whole life, and I'll never stop playing them. It's because their formula just hooks me. I like progressing. I like progressing my RPG character in a world where it is persistent, you know? Like I'll never understand the point of grinding like an endgame dungeon in a single player RPG to get like rare loot, because at the end of it, then what the hell are you using that rare loot on? You know what I mean? Just always the way I've looked at it. Like post-game dungeons and JRPGs, like it's great, it's extra content. It's, you know what I mean? If you like the combat system and you like the characters and everything like that, and it's satisfying to build your character in that. Do not get me wrong. I'm just saying, I like playing in a persistent world where my gear and my accomplishments and, you know, me going through these dungeons and me playing through all this post-game stuff persists for years and years and years on a character that is consistently being built upon. You know, that's one of the reasons I love MMOs so much. You know, it's one of the reasons I played WoW so much, and, you know, I still have my same character I made back a decade ago playing World of Warcraft, and I still improve upon him every expansion pack, and it's exciting to get to revisit and visit new lands with that character. You know, and I love the community aspect of it, which has kind of died down pretty quickly with the advent of Dungeon Finder and all that stuff. But, you know, as I got older, you know, it's like Dungeon Finder for a lot of people killed the MMO social experience because nobody has to talk anymore. But man, I'm gonna tell you something right now, like the amazing convenience of this Dungeon Finder in all these MMOs, like I don't know if people would get shit done anymore. You know what I mean? And it helps out a lot with MMOs with lower populations or lower populated servers who don't have enough people hanging around and chat. And, you know, it's really convenient to just be able to pop on and queue up for a dungeon, take care of some of your daily shit, and, you know, pop off. And, yeah, man, I mean, I really can't ask for a better system in terms of convenience. It did kill the social aspect of MMOs, though. Like, there was no denying that. You know, any desire to have to talk to anybody to form groups, which was a big part of MMOs for me. Early day WoW was huge in that, is dead. But regardless, whether or not people think the community aspect of MMOs is totally dead or not, it's one of the other reasons I come back to MMOs. You know, doing stuff, accomplishing really hard tasks with friends, and, you know, doing that never gets old. So that was the end of that dungeon. I hope these other dudes picked up the rest of the shit we need to unlock these chests, because I don't. There's like things you could find throughout the run that you place on these pedestals, and it unlocks another chest. It would appear as though we did not get enough. Alright, now you see the free-to-play aspect of the game right here. These dungeon chests you can't unlock unless you get a dungeon chest key, which you can purchase with Astral Diamonds, but I want to save those Astral Diamonds because, well, you can use them on other stuff. So, yeah. So that was an instance. I'm probably probably want to do it again, but that wouldn't make for a very good video. So I'll probably end up actually closing the video off here. I don't really have much in the way of like detailed impressions on Neverwinter. If you have a PS4 and you like MMOs and you're interested in downloading free stuff, if you're not like bandwidth capped, then you're able to afford to just, hey, I'll download this. I don't care, free. I'm a big downloader. You know, it's not ill advised to check it out. You know, and it's got everything a full featured MMO has nowadays. You know, instances and I got 35 seconds left so I can invoke again. I'll wait. Get me out of this stupid group. It's got instances, it's got PvP, which sucks, and it's a little pay to win. It's got voice acting, it's got good action combat that feels pretty damn good. It's a little Diablo-y. It's got really good character progression. I'll pop that up. What I really love about it, you know, and it sort of attracts me to MMOs a lot, is the way classes feel, and like the way that these MMOs present to you their classes is one of the reasons why I put so much time into. Oops, I'm fucking up with the trigger. It's one of the reasons I love Elder Scrolls Online so much, is because I think their character progression is so masterfully done. The way that you unlock skills and can kind of forge your own path as whatever class you pick. Like you could pick a sorcerer, but you know that sorcerer can use two-handed weapons. You know, but you could still kind of weave in your sorcery powers, but then also start weaving in two-handed weapon powers and be kind of a stamina sorcerer and almost kind of make a what do they call them? Battle mages. You know, you could be a Nightblade, but heal, or you know, or be a Templar, or a Dragon Knight, who's like a fiery tank, and then only use stabs and magic. And you know, I love their skill trees. I think they're so addicting to build on those as you level up. It's so fun to watch a class that you pick kind of take its own form as to what you like doing. Like, oh, I'm playing a Nightblade, but you know, I typically Nightblades would be using bows and dual wielding, but I kind of want to use a Nightblade who sifts through the shadows, and then as soon as he pops out, he fucks people up with a two-handed axe or something, you know, and I could perfectly do that. And as I'm playing, you know, that progression starts naturally taking form, and it's super good. I'm a big fan of that. So Neverwinter is a little less free than that. Neverwinter has very defined class roles for their available classes, but the skill trees are detailed, you know, and it's one of the things I think World of Warcraft lost, is that like the detail in skill trees and the way you build your characters. In World of Warcraft, it's gone to the way of Diablo 3, where it's very simple. But in this, you know, every class has a bunch of abilities you can get that go on your active bar, and then you get like these abilities called dailies, which is like your ultimate, and like, you know, that builds up as you fight. Devoted Cleric has a really cool mechanic called Channel Divinity, where you know, you build up stacks on the left hand side there. You can see that yellow meter to the left of my character's body, and then, you know, when those crosses fill up, that's a stack of divinity, and you could pop R1 and start channeling that, and that gives all of your abilities a secondary effect. Like, for example, one of them is my AoE moves, or one of them is like a AoE burst. Now, instead of doing just raw AoE damage, it puts an AoE dot on everything within the vicinity that move is used in, and that's really great because, you know, and then I don't think I have any AoE dots really outside of the Channel Divinity state. And the Channel Divinity doesn't run out until you start using moves. And then your default attacks have different effects in Channel Divinity, and it's really fun to kind of pop in and out of the divine state and kind of use your moves in different ways for different situations. It's a really fun mechanic. I've also played a bit with Great Weapon Fighter, which is a lot of fun as well. It just feels really good. They did a really good job. I'm like I look forward to leveling up. You know, it's one of the knocks I always give Final Fantasy XIV is that, oh, let me invoke, is that I feel like, you know, every character class plays the same because they do. You know, like every bard plays like every other bard. There's no talent tree. There's no way to customize. You play a warrior who uses two-handed axes and shit. They're super badass. You have to tank. You know, you can't be a DPS warrior and solely DPS. You know, there's no talent trees. There's no every job's rock on the same rotation as the other player using that job. You know, and it becomes kind of stale. I guess it's made up for by the fact that as one character you can play as every job, so your variety is limitless in terms of what you're playing on a day-to-day basis. But it's not as fun looking forward to a level up. Like in Final Fantasy XIV, you level up and you might get a skill every 2 levels or whatever. And it's like, oh, that's real exciting, you know, like, cool, I got a new ability. But, you know, the excitement that I get from leveling up in Elder Scrolls Online and leveling up in Neverwinter is, you know, leveling up and then going popping right in here and just studying what I'm going to put my next point into, you know. Like, that is addicting to me. That's what makes Elder Scrolls Online so addicting is, you know, looking forward to spending that next skill point, playing towards that next skill point, doing things like exploring and fighting sky shards in ESO just to get that next skill point, you know, because I want to morph this ability into this because I want to see what it does, or I want to get this ability so I can see how it synergizes with these abilities, and like those qualities are really addicting. And Neverwinter does a really good job at having you look forward to each level. You know, there's a lot to unlock for your classes. But like I said, as far as that, I don't really have too much in depth. I'm only level 17. I can't really comment on a lot of the end game. I can't really comment on anything I haven't played within the confines of the Forgotten Realms here in this MMO universe. I can only comment on the 1 3-man dungeon I've done, the few skirmishes I've done, which are like more wave-based, quick dungeons. They aren't structured like a dungeon. You're not going through fighting bosses. It's more like, here's 3 waves of enemies, kill them, you know, and you get a big chest at the end. I can only really comment on the quests I've done. They're very typical MMO quests. Collect this, collect that, kill this, kill that. And, yeah, you know, and the little bit of the PvP I've done, which isn't that fun. And from what I hear, again, I can only comment, as I've said, I can only comment on the things I've heard of through the grapevines that the PvP is a bit pay to win at endgame. I mean, we'll see how it is on PS4, though, because it's a brand new landscape, all brand new players. The PS4 version of Neverwinter is not cross-server with any other version of Neverwinter. The PS4 people play with the PS4 people, Xbox One people play with Xbox One people, and of course PC people play with PC people. It is not like Final Fantasy XIV, where you're going to be popping in with some PC players. So everyone's brand spanking new. The entire economy and market board is brand new, you know. So we'll see how the PvP landscape shapes itself. Maybe it won't be as bad starting out right now if you're getting it on the ground floor right this moment. But either way, if you're looking for a free MMO to check out, it costs nothing to get in. All of the content is free. All of the meaty stuff is free, of course. Quality of life stuff like bags and character slots and vanity items like companions and pets and costumes and stuff. All that stuff, the typical stuff you'd find in a free MMO. Cash shop is all here. But all the meaty stuff, all the dungeons, all of the new content, all of the PvP, all of the quests, all of that stuff is zip. You don't gotta pay a dime. It's worth a download, man. You know, it's worth a download. If you're bored of ESO, or if you're bored of Final Fantasy XIV and you're looking for something to kill some time until that next Destiny expansion, or No Man's Sky, or whatever, ain't nothing wrong with this one. I think it's quite fun. It's got its hooks in me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. This video probably won't make it onto the internet. If it does, wow, you got some bonus content that I wasn't going to put up. You know, I was only recording this as a test to make sure the hot pog is still working. After that Owen Chimbari video Jose and I did. If you want to see more content like this, I would love to deep dive into other stuff. There's some other games I'd like to play, like full playthroughs, and throw it up on here on the channel. If you don't want to see that, let me know too. If nobody comments on this, well, time to become one with the sea and die. Follow us on Twitter at @MixedPixel. You can follow me on Twitter at PepperedHam. You can find us on Facebook. Search up Mixed Pixel. And have a pleasant